Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. I have Chris Wright here, Langston University again. Had you saw him several times this year talking Langston Lions basketball. You know, your season, okay, you only lost the one game, but your season was a little bit of an up and down. I know there were times this year where you weren't really happy with your defense, I think primarily, but the team has really seemed like it's stabilized. You're holding people to, you're holding the point values down. I know you're a defensive guy. Where do you feel defensively your team is now?
I think we've gotten a lot better, as the years went on. Yeah, I thought it was pretty rough in the month of November. I didn't think we were very good at all. And I'm really proud of our guys that they continue to grow and stay hungry and kind of buy into what it was we were asking them to do. And so, right, you're never a finished product, but I think we've made great strides.
So when because you tend to get a lot of 1 and 2 year guys, is it, and you demand a defensive commitment that sometimes it takes guys a little while to understand. Do you find that having guys just a year or two makes that a little bit harder?
I think so. I think it does. As a coach, at the end of the day, I think, you get what you tolerate. And, we're pretty upfront and honest with guys just about what we're going to expect, day in and day out. And, but it's even guys that have played at a really high level. It's an adjustment for a lot of them. If our guys don't chop their feet and they don't have high hands, I'm going to blow my whistle, right?
Yeah.
Every single time in practice. And so, there's definitely a learning curve there, and it can be challenging, just with getting a lot of 1 and 2 year transfers.
So talk about the Sooner this year. You guys really just kind of grabbed a hold of it. You stumbled the one time over at Sagu. Everybody's going to lose once. That's just the rule of the universe. I mean, you ever notice that? Everybody's going to lose at least once. It is the rule of the universe. Sagu is a tough place to play. Coach does a great job over there. But just talk about the Sooner this year.
I thought our league was like every coach in every league, right? If you ask everyone about their league, they think it's really good. But, the thing that I really appreciate about our league is how well coached it is. Every single night, coaches have a clear game plan, and you're getting their best shot game in and game out. And so I felt that, really prepared us for the postseason.
Yeah.
We had 4 teams make the national tournament. Science and arts was really talented. I know they didn't finish the season the way they wanted to, but they could have very easily been in the national tournament. And so it's a very good league top to bottom.
Yeah. I talked to Scott Moore about this. I think, this is just my opinion. I want your opinion. I think when you get here to Kansas City, it's almost the field levels back out for you. And let me tell you what I mean by that. You have had a target on your back all year. You know that. And now you're here, everybody's got a target on their back. Yeah. I think it almost levels things out for you.
I agree with you. I think that, it's amazing throughout the year. Every single game, you play, if you're ranked high, if you're a top 5 team, you get the other opponent's best shot. And so people will ask me about a certain team, and I'm like, man, I think they're really good. Yeah. Right? And another coach might have a completely different opinion. Just again, because I do think a lot of people, if you have a small number by your name, a lot of people are going to get up for you. And so I agree with you. Obviously, if I was drawing up matchups, Shreveport probably wouldn't have been.
I want to talk about Shreveport. We ain't quite there. We'll talk about that. I want to stick with the season, though, because as favorite as you were all season, as a fan, I want to know, what were those road gyms like? Did they offer you tea and crumpets before the game, or what was that? What were the road games like?
I think for our guys, they would say a lot of fun. For me, I would say, I don't think we're going to win any game, much less a road game. I really mean that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of anxiety for me, but, in the Sooner you go on the road, and there's a lot of really good atmospheres. Yeah. And you really have to become battle tested, or you're going to get embarrassed on the road.
Yeah. Road games, I think road games are awesome myself. But let's go back and let's talk about the Sooner again just for a second. One of the amazing things about the Sooner Conference is you can put, like a lot of people now have the Roku, you can put the Roku app on your phone, on the TV, and you can pull up all the Sooner athletics, not just basketball, and you can pull them up and you can follow every school. The conference does a great job of making their product available. You know, you don't see that everywhere in the country, and they do a fantastic job.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just, you know, one of the great things about our league is they do take a lot of pride in just the rich basketball tradition, right, that so many programs in the Sooner have. I mean, if you look at, you know, current coaches in our league that have national championships, right, Brendan Shingleton at Texas Wesleyan, obviously Josh Gamblin at MacU,
Right.
and then you have guys that have had, you know, Delton Dills had great tournament success, Chris Francis at USAO.
Yep.
You know, my old assistant, one of my good friends, Clint Gallion's been to the national tournament every year except one since he's been a head coach. And so, you look, Mark Barakoff at Oklahoma City, you know, was very, very successful in the NCCA.
And they're going to be a lot better next year.
Yeah, they are.
They are. They started coming on toward the end of the year. They were really young, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, MacU, throughout the season, just got, well, gambling's been around a while, but they just got better and better and better. I was expecting them to be here, but they just got better throughout the year, didn't they?
Yeah, no, I thought the job that Coach Gamblin did was amazing. And I think people have a very healthy respect for him around the country, but I also feel like he's very underrated in what he does. To see where they started the season at and you know, play them 3 times and play them in our conference tournament championship. And I mean, they were a completely different team.
Yeah.
And so they have good players, but he got those guys playing at an extremely high level at the end of the year.
So one of the positive things with your success this season is you got to host the pod or the regional, whatever they call it. And you had started it out with Bellevue. And then who did you play in the second game? You played, Ave Maria out of the Sun. Talk about what it meant to Langston University, to the town, to be able to host that NAIA first and second round there at Langston.
Well, obviously, I think anytime you get to host and play home games, right, it's a huge advantage. You know, for us, we've never lost at home at Langston. So I think we're 33-0 now.
Wow.
And so,
and by the way, if you don't know this, Langston plays on Marcus Haynes Court. I don't know, that amazes me. So Marcus Haynes, very, very famous with the Globetrotters, was Langston graduate.
Absolutely.
And the court that Langston plays on is Marcus Haynes Court. Okay, sorry about that. You've never lost there, Coach?
No,
you haven't.
No, we have not. So it's been an amazing, you know, now kind of the bad thing when we got to host, it was spring break for us, so we didn't have a lot of our students.
Well, that is too bad.
But when our students are there, man, that place is rocking, and it's a big advantage.
So you beat Bellevue in the first round. They were out of the North Star. And then you and I were talking a little bit about Ave Maria out of the Sun in the second round. Now, Ave Maria, in my opinion, is a very good basketball team.
For sure.
They're undersized, and they like to run. But you just must have gave them a huge matchup problem with your size.
Well, so they got up 9 on us kind of midway through the first half. I mean, Coach Copeland does a really good job.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, that's as good of an offensive team as we've played since I've been at Langston. I mean, just how they move the ball, how they really space you. I mean, they were a mismatch problem for us. You know, we really had to kind of adjust some things and to kind of, you know, be able to match up with them and not give them open threes all night, which we did not do a very good job of early in that game. So it was a you know, different style of game, but it was good for us going through, and I was proud of our guys responding in the second half the way they did.
You know, that school has an amazing basketball tradition. They fill their gym every night, and they have to, if one person leaves, then they'll let another person in. They go to the fire marshal limit every night. My hat is off to Ave Maria, filling the gym every night. So you beat Ave Maria, you were able to get here. Chris, just tons of expectations for your team this season. You know that it's got to be a little bit of a wait, but now you're in Kansas City. You know, I mean, it's going to be over here soon, one way or another.
For sure.
What do you guys have to do? What do you feel good about? What are you nervous about? How do you feel about the team? Just talk about the team right now.
You know, like you mentioned expectations, and obviously we're very blessed and very fortunate to be 32-1 right now. But you know, I think having those expectations sometimes makes the season not very much fun. You know, like, you know, we would win games sometimes by large margins, and I just didn't think we played up to our potential. And so, you know, I had a lot of anxiety, like seriously going into our opening round games at home. And so just me personally, I feel a huge sigh of relief just getting past those first 2 games.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get back here so bad. You know, for our seniors, for our guys that came with us to Langston in year 1. And so obviously we're not satisfied just with getting here, but I think for everyone in our program, it was a sigh of relief. You know, we feel good about our team right now. I think, you know, some areas we're going to have to shore up if we want to go, you know, win these next 4. But, you know, the biggest thing we've talked about is I don't want us to play not to lose.
And,
right.
Yep.
Like I want our guys to be in the moment. I want to be in the moment. You know, I think back to a couple years ago at Talladega when we made that run. And again, I didn't enjoy much of it. And so that's kind of, for me, I think the promise that I made to myself is that I'm really going to try to, you know, if we go win 4 games or if we lose the first one, I'm really going to enjoy this time here in Kansas City because it's really, really hard to get here. And so I just want our guys to have no regrets at the end of this, you know, next week, whatever happens.
And I that's kind of the old man advice I've given a couple guys is enjoy every second. I would say the same thing to players too. Yeah. Very few coaches and very few men get to take part in what you're taking part in. I mean, really, and just you got to just enjoy every second.
For sure.
And you know, the game will take care of itself because your preparation. You can't win in the game. You win in your preparation. You know that. Every coach knows that. So, you know, the game is going to take care of itself, but just enjoy every second. You know, we talked earlier, last year you got up against Georgetown early, a guy, Chris Briggs, a great friend of yours. You end up falling in that game. You get back here, Kyle Blankenship, another close friend of yours, first round game. You guys played that really highly publicized game in the December, I guess it was, and now you're going to face each other again. How ironic is it, though, that you get put against two of your best friends in coaching out here?
Yeah, it's. I tell you what, when you play friends in this profession, it's not very much fun because if you lose, losing's always miserable, right? It doesn't matter who you lose to, and if you win and beat a friend, you know kind of what they're going through and how they're feeling,
exactly,
and so it takes some of the fun of winning out just because you feel for them, and so. Yeah, I mean, you know, over the last couple of years, Coach Blankenship and I became, you know, really good friends, and I'm thankful for him, and I have tremendous respect for, you know, what he's done at LSUS. When you look at it, they made 20 consecutive NAIA national tournaments.
I know, I didn't realize that's today. Yeah,
and so, I mean, he is obviously when you think about NAIA basketball, you mentioned Chris Briggs, you mentioned Kyle Blankenship. Those are some of the first guys that come to mind, and so. You know, over the long haul, we want to build a program like he's had at LSUS where, you know, they're going to be in the mix every single year.
Yeah, you have tremendous support there at Langston. I know that. I've talked to the athletic director. I know your president supports the program. Just talk about your time at Langston.
And it's been awesome, right? Like, I think for us, you know, taking over a program that had won 1 game in 2 years and to look now and
2 games in 3 years.
Yeah, and we are what I think we're 63-4 in our 2 years, and then won 2 Sooner regular season championships and 2 you know SAC conference tournament championships, and it's really easy to take that for granted, you know, as you're going through, right? Just trying to be as good as you know your team can possibly be, and so. But when you take a step back and look at that, it's great. And I think more than winning basketball games, you know, and our guys graduating. My wife and I have just really enjoyed. I think the community at Langston. We've had a lot of people that have really embraced us. That have, and there's so many people that really make it a special place.
Yeah. I see a lot of the pictures, especially at graduation time and stuff, and it looks. And knowing you're an athletic director, I know it's a close community.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, I wish you a lot of luck against LSU. I root for both of you guys, but it's going to be, I say this to every coach, but from a fan standpoint, it's going to be a great matchup. It is. So you guys are 2 different teams from December, so it'll be a whole different game, but I think it's going to be a great matchup.
For sure. Well, hey, Billy D, I appreciate it. And hey, we'll always take some extra luck, right? It's like the old saying, it's a lot better to be lucky than good. So we hope we can be both these over the next week.
Chris, thanks a lot. That's Chris Wright,
Thanks, sir.
Langston Lion basketball. Thank you very much, Chris.